All right, here we are. It's time for tunnel meeting number 171. And today we're being joined by Stephen, Tevo, Guillermo, Ashley, Vanessa, and Read AI. Thanks a lot for being here. As you can see on screen, I didn't make any slides, so there's no screen to look at. It's going to be a relatively straightforward couple of updates from the work groups. And I Yeah, for formality, I could throw a little reminder on what the ambassador program is. I'm sure you're all you probably have heard this once, maybe twice before. We're a group of people that are quite aligned with the mission and vision of SingularityNet and want to help contribute towards its mission of building towards beneficial AGI. And we have a wide range of self-organizing work groups. If you're interested in joining out, do hop onto our Discord server. There's a how to join section, which will tell you how to join. On the mentions side of things, I don't think I have too much, but I do want to take a moment, basically, to share about the passing of Rama. It's incredible, sad news. If you happen to have any, like, I'm not the one to share the words of wisdom. It's super harsh, and sometimes reality is just, yeah, it's just fucked. I'm not sure if I can say that on YouTube, but here we are. Um, if you're interested, tomorrow at 14 UTC, Deep Funding is organizing a kind of a tribute memorial session where everybody that's worked with him will be, yeah, sharing about experiences. And yeah, if you happen to be interested in that, it would be good to join 14 UTC. The links are shared on Deep Funding. If you can't find it and are interested, feel free to DM. I mean, I wish I had some actual wise words to add here, but truth is, I really don't. Um, yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to completely ignore it, and then yeah, it's just the most sad news there is, pretty much. So that's it. Just sucks. There's no nice way of putting it. Um, yeah. So there's that. I don't know, on the practical side of things, I'm not sure. I don't think I have a lot of actual mentions of upcoming special, unique sessions this week. Um, Quickly double checking the calendar to make sure if that's actually accurate, but I think it is. So that's done, I guess, would move us on to the actual updates from work groups. It's a relatively small audience today, but for those viewing on YouTube, I think we should give these updates. And there were a couple of interested groups. There's governance, there's archives, there's R&D. I think that's pretty much the ones that at least gave some indication, but there's going to be definitely room or space in this call to add some more if you want to. So yeah, any takers for going first? If not, I guess I could also start on governance side of things. Guess I'll go ahead and do that. Well, basically, the sentiment survey is going to go live, and just a little bit of a step back. Not sure if the news permeated to everybody, but for Q4, we're gonna skip pretty much the whole consent process on budgets. And reasoning there is, well, first of all, it's a lot of overhead. And in itself, that's not really a reason for skipping it. But looking at the current token price, at some point it stops making sense spending a lot of overhead on a very small budget, which then also needs even more budget to even work on. So yeah, but broadly speaking, for Q1 on the budget side of things, it will simply be a copy of Q4. No changes there. And we decided to do a follow-up on the sentiment survey. And that's going to focus on quality of work, the impact work groups are having, and the transparency work groups are having. This is pretty much, yeah, these are recurring themes, let's say, on feedback that is given to work groups. So, yeah, getting that properly sorted on all work groups, that's pretty much what the survey aims to do. And if I'm correct, it's about ready to go live. I don't have the latest link ready. Oh, there we go in chat. Perfect. Uh, I find myself this close to reading out the link. I'm not going to do that. It's a Google Forms link. It will be on the ambassadors general channel as well. It's aimed for core contributors. So in a way, if you want to fill it in, but you're not a core contributor, you can. It might get considered, but it's really aimed at core contributors. And quick check if I'm skipping anything there on the either the survey or the approach to Q1 budget.
Just that we are going to ask people to do a really brief report on what they've done in Q4, even if we don't like have a consent process about it.
Yes, yes, thanks. Yes, so it's primarily the proposal part that's getting well copied basically. But we do want a report on what's being done. We're gonna earlier today during governance we established most. I think we're quite almost there to put in the governance dashboard a bit of a templated, really short and concise, structured version of reporting. In itself, you're more than welcome to report more than what is being asked, but not less. Pretty much, that's the short version. Seeing question if there's a deadline for the progress report. Um, yeah, as mentioned in chat, before Christmas would be decent timing, and based on earlier years, looks like well mid-December people start heading off for Christmas break. So there's early December is mentioned as well. Um, yeah, and practically speaking, it's indeed not needed before the results of the sentiment survey. We're aiming at having that survey conclude at November 17th, top of mind, so that we can discuss it on the governance meeting of the 20th of November. So indeed, the reporting is not that short-term deadline. If anything, if people would have to have it in mid-November, then we're only midway through the quarter anyway. Um, yeah, if there's any further questions, please don't hesitate and ask them.
Seems straightforward.
Yep, the link will be coming your way. Or, well, you can see it in chat already, but cool. I do think that's pretty much it from governance side of things. So yeah, if there's another work group that wants to take the floor, by all means. I didn't assign any order or anything, so feel free to.
I can do archive if you like. Okay, on archive, I'm just going to give a brief update on what we're primarily focusing on is looking at our archive data, which is record of meeting records, and ingesting that into various AI tools. I'm going to do a quick screen share of something I'm working on for another thing we're focusing on is not only using AI tools, but actually doing that in an auditable way, the way that you can audit results and have feedback from users. Is it possible to share a screen? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see. I've got the button. Yeah, okay. So in we are working on a number of things. I just want to show this, which is a unified Can people see this? Yeah.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, unified graph analysis. So the objective is this to take a couple of graph approaches. This is graph analysis of data, and this is particularly structured graphs. So co-attendance graphs, field degree, so on. So take this as an example. Hopefully, this will map the degree which people co-attend meetings, and it creates patterns here. And then it gives information on the top nodes by degree, including, then here's the people. Now that's okay. So what I'm adding to this is a way to review that through this input form here. So you rate what you see, and then you submit that. And there's already some dummy reviews here. And that goes for each of these, and they appear on an audit column here, which will show a scoring for each graph analysis. So the idea is to involve users in graph review of the data. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on that because we'll go in more detail at archive next week, which may be early December. We are working on other things like ingesting all the archive data into a LNM, but a RAG controlled LNM, which will have entity extraction, but again, an auditable approach with citations for each entry. And while I'm here, I just want to quick mention a prototype I did for MeTTa, reading Ben's document. I did a quick simulation using some MeTTa symbolic rules. And this is using the example, I used an example of a reputation system. So the agents use MeTTa symbolic reasoning. Actions are contribute, share, trade, and idle, which builds up reputation scores. And that builds an interactive network graph which uses the MeTTa symbolic rules and then takes the reputation and builds that iteratively. So here on the left-hand side, you see the number of agents which you can change, the number of simulation steps, the step delays, and the graph. And if I just run this, hopefully it'll work. So a step through each simulation using MeTTa symbolic logic and generate different languages, and each of these will be the degree of interactions will be a more broader connection. Oh, sorry. Just read that. And then that will then result in simulation metrics and how an agent ranking. So this is the rank of reputation. And then you can replay each of the steps by going back to see how how that develops. So I just want to give a practical example of, I'll just reset that, a practical example of how to use MeTTa, and which is similar to Prolog. And I'm familiar from a background many years ago using Lisp, which is like an old AI language, but this is much more similar to Prolog. It's a prefix language, but just an indication that it is possible to use MeTTa. Again, I'm only scratching the surface, and so I thought I'd just share that.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. I think that might be a first, actually, showcasing MeTTa live like this. Good stuff.
And half of that you don't even understand, like you need a lexicon, okay?
Yeah, I know. I think again, it's the beginning of educational tools because we know there seems to be a lot of mystery around MeTTa, but it is basically a symbolic reasoning method. I'm just trying to think of ways where we can use it as a community and get engaged with it in a much more straightforward way.
I love it. Awesome.
Yeah, looks cool. Maybe on top of that, I will follow up with knowledge base, because well, I'm gonna also share some screen. I'm gonna send request. So over this quarter, like you already know, we have two sessions. But there's a strategic shift that we made. We made like an additional bi-weekly session where we don't record RISE like meeting summaries, and we don't record them, but we like prepare meetings in advance. Like, okay, what are the agenda items? So because we always had like this issue, okay, I'm preparing stuff, but it's hard to hand over because we never prepare together. So that kind of creates this new space where we can just like brainstorm, think about what needs to be discussed next meeting and what are like a 2 hour time window. And then also looking at like GitHub tasks and kind of connecting with the task list because you don't want to spend the meeting time because last quarter and previous quarters was this issue. We always looked at the task list like, what's your status? Is this up to date? But now it's like taking that like status updates into like a different meeting and having more like actions and like decisions and action item discussions in the main meetings itself. So like that's the strategic change that we're doing. Like everything is still happening like mostly now asynchronously, that which is another way to kind of think of it. We are still doing the like GitHub improvements. I don't know if people have noticed that either way they're gonna be like reporting about that. And like we are a bit performant, more performant like distribution of who is like organizing what task. But what we prepared for the next session that happens in 2 weeks is reviewing some of the like work. We also try to use AI. In our case, we just choose ChatGPT, and like we have now like we were missed like the templates of like reporting templates. We created these ones at least for now, but we are for this quarter the goal is to create like templates for all the work groups in Treasury Knowledge and Process Guild and Treasury Automation. And then basically feed the MeTTa data in. I also created a new feature to like download all the GitHub descriptions that we have in the GitHub because we're like adding details information there and like actions or like results there. Getting that like as a text format. We have then Treasury Automation workgroup summaries themselves that we like put as a context text. And basically just bunch of copy pasting and we put it into prompt and generating the report. So it is actually pretty good result in a sense. And like if we can imagine, we can automate it even further with into 8, so we don't have to do the manual copy pasting and stuff. But I'm now wondering maybe that's something that we should connect with the archival workgroup and see like, is there a way to use these kinds of text files, or you need like organized data in order to actually make the representations, and like can like the qualification of like taking some kind of snippet of information from already existing text and aligning it with what's expected in like the reports and like create a story of that. So yeah, the goal is here is to basically uh, improve the way we're doing reporting. So we just do our stuff, we press a button, and then we work with report from there. Where previously it was more like, okay, you do 1 hour or 2 hours report, then just one reviews, and then we gather some feedback, and then we add more, which kind of added up always quite some time. But now, like, yeah, seeing if we can use the assets we create before to give us a better starting point. So that's knowledge base from my side, and I noticed Stefan, you already felt like to answer me. So what's up?
Yeah, just picking up on what you're saying on how to have another thing I'm developing, which I'm going to talk more about in the next meeting, is taking a structured approach to building to interfacing with using LLMs, but using a retrieval augmented system. So you take your structured data like that, and you do entity extraction first, and that way you can audit the results in the LLM. So you don't get any hallucinations, you get citations. I'll just drop a link very briefly. I posted it in your as well, but a link to Archive RAG, which is developing here, which gives more details. I want to go into it now. But so basically, it's a way that you have a truth first approach. So you have a specification, and then you have you examine what entities of information you have, and then when that goes to the LLM, the generative data, all the generative data acts as a kind of a natural language interface to it.
Yeah, sounds good. And the way when you presented your file, I actually even like the fact that where people could comment like, is this relevant? Like, can you like say that? Because I feel like we maybe need same things in here too. Like, okay, you gave us a story of what were our outcome, but was it true?
Yeah, a way to do that, and again, I think maybe we can cooperate on this, but I'm certainly going to try it with the archive. Let's say you have a Discord bot, but it could be any interface, and you ask it a question, and it gives you citations for the answer. Yeah. So it says, where did I get that answer from? And if it's inaccurate, what could be good, nice, is to develop a tracking system. So you give feedback to, repo or whatever to say, no, this is not. And that way we can refine the LNM. It's not really an LM, it's more of a RAG system as a community.
Yeah, so it's basically switching context, and because I guess you can kind of like weight up, like look answer from here more. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
and also it helps us give a much more structured approach to prompts, so there's no ambiguity. So that you are, again, it's going to be take some work on what does our data mean again. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but yeah.
Yep. Cool. Cool. I don't know, maybe I should also share a bit of Treasury. So in there, like Treasury Guild in general, that's, as you can see, weekly sessions happen. We even had a slight budge on some days regarding the BJ event. Well, I'm still kind of lagging behind regarding the Treasury GitHub, like the automated movement like, of the GitHub dashboard from Treasury. Because I've been like working on my own like random updates, which also awesome, but maybe not as relevant as what we expected from proposal. But I'm positive that it is like this not couple of weeks. I will be like testing our first GitHub stuff because that's basically my next activity. And yeah, our next automation work group itself is in 2 weeks. Currently, also I've seen and in download shared already the feedback form, so everything that goes into there will be also considered into like how do we continue reporting, and that's also going to refine the way we're doing the reporting template. So because everything is kind of connected, like using your qualitative assessment of how do you proceed or what you want to hear from us, and then making a new basically standard where to like kick off with quarter 1. And well, basically this quarter already, we're already going to report with the new tools and new insight in mind. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. Process cool too, but that's like just activity happening. I don't know how to put them in words.
Well, it's nice that it's still ongoing. All right. Any questions there before moving on? I'm not in a rush, don't get me wrong. All right. Then I guess, Guillermo, that brings us to R&D. Don't mean to interrupt, sorry.
No, no. Hi, everyone. Yeah, no, not interrupting. I'm following something here with Leandro on Telegram. Sorry for that. But I do have to probably following up what the guys were sharing. So I'm gonna do some R&D update and LATAM, but let's start with R&D and following up with Archive, Stephen and Tivo's Process Guild. So we're trying to put all this work in the next step of the governance framework, which is the development of what we already shared the other day. It was a really cool it was a round table or something that we the governance work group kind of lead. It was a multi-group thing. We already shared something the other day, but we didn't share this because I think this summarized pretty well the next step on where we are. And you're gonna see all the work groups work reflected on this. So this is the next step. This is where we are right now. So context engineering design for the framework, and all these docs tools are what the guys were talking, summaries, knowledge base, all the work that we have been accumulating for the last 2 years. So we are in that stage. We discussed pretty much about the AI ethics on the framework. And yeah, we can all have different approaches. I think that's when all the interviews that the AI ethics did gonna have more inputs from the individuals, human aspects, you know? There's a bunch of interviews that the guys have been doing. But also those brings cultural context within, you know? So probably that's when the part that we are not training, okay? The ASI1 training library of the LLM is gonna come useful, you know? But then we were thinking the other day it would be cool for us to impute our cultural backgrounds. It already has, you know, the model is already, you know, you ask it about Mexican food and it will tell you, you know. So probably we shouldn't spend too much time on that, but definitely in our inputs as a community and the process thinking and the work we're trying to put out. So as Pete was sharing, quarterly reports are going to have a template now, so we can narrow down not close a lot of windows, but get more efficient in regards of how we gather the data, okay? How we feed these noodles of information to our ASI1 model that we have connected in the back of the brain of this AI assist. And then the next step is gonna, again, keep organizing the information. A multi-agent is not useful if we don't have a framework. So we're gonna keep building that. Then we reach out, kudos for the next step, that it will be bringing up some memory capacities to our framework, because this is kind of where we are all interacting. So, and if we want to build a memory within from what we already started last month, all the questioning, all the queries, and all of this that we already are gathering, we need a room, okay? We need a brain, a room for this brain. So we already reach out, Luke and Oliver, and they are up for helping. And that way we will be able to integrate MeTTa or the cognitive aspects within this framework. So next step on the V3, I know we go to token price, we should stop immediately, but that's not what we're kind of motivated with. So, and we have this bigger ecosystem that can bring us the resources and help. So we are looking for that. Vani is helping with that, with a task force for reaching out, but at the same time, we're doing it ourselves. And that way we're gonna bring compute power, memory, where all this context engineering is gonna fit in. And then again, cognitive and the rational aspects of how we will integrate MeTTa. The other thing that was very useful and good timing, the hackathon from the BGI, because there was some projects that have the experience with MeTTa in India, hack, and there's some technical team that we were able to reach out and meet in this exchange. So they learn about the project, and yeah, we're gonna have another room for experimentation with our MeTTa language, okay? But still, I wouldn't rush on that. I will rush more on migrating from Amazon cloud that we are paying today to our capacities on ASI cloud, and also bring some UX experience feedback from them, and to keep building this project and our use case for governance within our ecosystem. And then with LATAM, so it was a great experience this last month with the roundtable and the hack. We already discussed that, no? Previous session, it was all about that, retrospective. So probably good to share what the next steps. We're gonna be putting out, I think, the video of the roundtable we have. I think today we were talking with Vani about deliverables and all, setting up the shorts and the blogs, and all the things are coming out from that, on top of the Cointelegraph news or blog that the media share about LATAM being invited by Singularity Net, because it kind of goes under the radar. But it is Singularity Net, the only project, not only developing AGI, but also inviting community developers outside the mainstream, or the corporate aspect to discuss about the AGI, the ethics. So we brought our DNA, LATAM. So the guys who were on the roundtable were really excited about it, and we highlight that. It's really cool that this happens. It doesn't happen in other projects. They do like crypto events and all this blah blah blah. So it's kind of really cool that Singularity Net is doing that. So now it's time to follow up on that. We're gonna be going with to these events, but we're gonna be also following up with people that we invite, the president of Argentinian Society of AI, a lot of people that can be useful for our project to keep bringing connections, networking, and all of that, and keep discussing the cultural aspect, the ethic aspects, the infrastructure, how LATAM, privacy in governance applications of AI. This all was part of the discussion we had last week. So now we're going to go into deep on that rabbit hole, following up with the people we already discussed and have invited last week. So yeah. And then what else? So ASI also invite us to help with the new business and outreach for new opportunities for the cloud. So yeah, looking forward to next month. It's going to be busy. We don't have too much budget allocation, but I was talking with Pete. We're going to push for the wall. And we're going to go. We're going to surf couch. Probably there are 3 events. Probably we're going to just narrow it down to the one at the end, that is the Dev Connect, because our project runs on Ethereum also, no? But also again, spreading out the word of the DevNet, almost there's launch, and trying to figure out how we can use that. So yeah, we're gonna be on the road probably on the 15th of this month, of the 17th, and we're gonna be reaching out to a couple of events, and we're going to be following up, sharing in our media and all of that. Okay, so yeah, going to be fun.
Awesome. And great to hear. Also nice to see that your efforts are getting picked up from ASI Cloud side. Kudos.
Yeah, they have. So we have a strong product. It's solid, and our ASI one is getting stronger, and the DevNet announcement and the whole, MeTTa, all the improvements that have been put in together, after a lot of work, a lot of things come out through. So we need to, maybe it's a draw. We were talking this kind of a draw. It's kind of, let's say, how you say, but the soil is fertile, and we should keep cleaning it, and it's like a garden, and then the rain is going to come again, and we need to get it ready. So yeah, and also Luke and the guys that are working with the Singularity Net team for the ASI Cloud they have a pretty strong, because we have a lot of poetry. We were talking this. Let me share this with you. It's stupid, but it's a good analogy. We have a lot of poetry and a lot of thinking. Mathematics is the core of our project. Reasoning, all this, compute, all this. But if we don't build a theater, poetry get kind of lost. And so I believe now that with Kudos team, we have that kind of corporate aspect, that, Vanny always tell me that you corporate asshole. It's like we kind of need that, to push the vision and mission of Ben and all the team. It's like we need that kind of it's like the Rolling Stone without the record label, we need a theater. It's like the Rolling Stone without the theater. It's like we need that aspect. And the Kudos family is bringing that. They're cool. You guys met it. They bring that theater where this poetry becomes freaking magical. If you don't have that, it's like, get lost in the noise of the city. So I think they're building that. So we're gonna help, and let's see what comes out. I don't know.
Yeah, I love it. That's definitely the right approach. I mean, I wish the token price side of things didn't force this reality, of course. Unfortunately, a little bit out of my control. Have to be honest there. All right, awesome. Yeah, I think that more or less. Well, are there any questions or comments or there's quite a bit in chat. Yeah, Stephen, what you mentioned on using MeTTa for reputation, that's internally that's being worked on. So
Yeah,
that's
that's kind of where I got the idea from. But really, what I wanted to show was it can be used as, yes, you can get into real detailed sophistication, but I really sympathize with your comment about people being able to play with it and understand it, because there's a lot of mystique about it, and all it is, well, it is quite good, great, but it is a way to describe concepts. Yeah. So if we as a community can think of concepts which we would like to describe, like for example, reputation is one of them, but it could be, how do we want to audit things? How do we want to govern things? How do we want to submit community reports? Things like that. But not so much the detail, but how conceptually we would like to describe that. Then we can build maybe a meta playground, and then the meta can then execute that in Python or whatever to run the actual detail, the analysis. So I think that's where we could come together, maybe as ambassadors in the community. Yeah, hopefully, we're funded at some point to actually do this.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I really can't speak on the funding side of things, but at the same time, you know, it's Meta's in a way it's a continuation of OpenGOG Hyperon, and or it's language, and it's so integrated that I'm quite sure that any push on that, that there will be support. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll tend to buy it. I mean, the reason why I realized it was possible because it has a Python interface, an API, so I know just basically playing with it. And I do have some background in Prolog and Lisp, so I understand the concepts. But it'd be great to actually meet with more sophisticated players to sort of work out what can be modeled and how we could apply that in a way that we could play with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think over time there will be more and more. Yeah, like I mentioned, right now there's a bi-weekly call, which yeah, it is just it's not easy. It's not entry level. Oh, I can do. I don't know. I can do a little bit of Java, like 10 years ago. Like it's not connecting. It's too much. It's which in itself is fine. Like there needs to be this focused, specialized space, but at the same time, like I put in chat, like a lower entry level. It's also what within R&D the I think Metacolor Lab was the number for this.
Yeah, and that's why I'm quite happy, and people, and also Vanny and with the archive group, because that's what we're interested in, is taking these complex, things which are often, discussed in a very technical environment, and that's all very good and that needs to be done. But there also needs to be roles, and these roles should be recognized as well, by the way, that actually are intermediaries, because in the end, you need use cases and you need people to understand from an ethical perspective, you need people to understand those use cases. So that, I'm quite happy to dive into something which I might not completely understand with with a weekly meeting and see what people are doing with MeTTa, and then maybe I can think, oh, maybe we could do this with MeTTa in a way that we could apply in a more playful way, with community logic.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, that's music to my ears. I mean, not gonna lie. It's I mean, recognizing roles and funding wise, I'm kind of inclined to think a little bit about deep funding rather than ambassador program for like actual, like, just looking at the current numbers, it's not great for deep funding either. They have the same numbers, but they're 60 times bigger, so that makes quite a bit of difference. And this to me sounds like could fit into RFP kind of rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and again, I only just mentioned that because it is probably a constraint on all of us here, that a lot of us doing this for next to nothing. Yeah, and so I just mentioned it. So it is a kind of ongoing, but the interest of what we're doing is also, and the fact that we have a community is great anyway. So that does keep us going.
I think that's really core, actually. The fact that we've got a community enables us to try out things that maybe lone developers can't try out. Particularly say like the verification thing that Stephen was showing earlier. You can't do that unless you've got a community that created the corpus in the first place to be able to verify stuff. And to me, that's really fundamental to an ethical approach as well, to be able to invite those who created the material to verify the AI analysis of it. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, indeed. As with Treasury as well, if there's no community, there's no Treasury work being done. All right. Looking at the clock, there's 10 more minutes on the slot. I do kind of feel most. Well, if there's a work group representatives that want to share an update, you most definitely can. But I think we kind of covered for the people present.
Maybe somebody here can share about AI ethics. Like I think yesterday they had a session, or no, and is it how much it connected with PGI and what's next? Like, are you related to the work group stuff? That announcement looked good.
I mean, a little bit, yeah. I can sort of briefly say some of the interesting stuff that came up in the meeting on Monday. As people know, most of our focus lately has been, well, since the inception of the work group, really, has been contributing to BGI Nexus's research project by doing interviews and transcribing them and all that. And we've started to think about, once all the material is anonymized and transcribed and available, what should happen to it? And kind of thinking about maybe more intuitive, adventurous approaches rather than just writing academic papers, although that is important too, because we've got a corpus that is very much focused on interviews mainly in Nigeria and Ghana. And, there's a few outliers as well in Indonesia and the US and whatever, but we've just been talking about like how it would be good to have interviewers writing up insights about what the coding reveals, because it could be, I don't know, if you have somebody who's outside of that community interpreting the interpretation, the coding, then it could actually miss quite a lot of the insights. And I'm also thinking along the lines of some of the stuff that we've been thinking about in archives, just kind of like how we analyze this material and how we knowledge graph it and what we do to interpret it in a way that would allow those who were part of making it, whether that's interviewers, transcribers, or even interviewees, to have some verificatory input on what the analysis that we're doing. Because I think we've just found out how specific some of the insights are to the culture and communities that we've approached. And it would just be really interesting to be able to have that verification and for people to go, well, yeah, you've coded it, you've seen this in it, but actually I feel like it's missing this point or that point. So yeah, I think it's all going to be up for grabs over the next few months until token price recovers, if it does, to the stage where we can actually do some work on that.
Thanks for that. And yeah, Collie, by all means, go for it.
Okay, I lost my voice. I apologize, but I do have a very big official announcement. I actually just got the text that my friend Scott Forshaw, the CTO and founder of Teridion, he wants to post something in Discord because he and Ben Goertzel have come to an agreement that the TQNN, which is the Toridian Quantum Neural Network, will fit inside OpenCog and will be integrated. Scott announced it this morning. And what it's going to do is it's going to give contextual learning space. I mean, so it'll be able to hold context, much like a RAM does or our subconscious in a human. So it'd be like human level reasoning. And that's exciting, yes. I mean, that brings us probably right into AGI or BGI pretty quickly here. Also, yes, TQNN, yep, that's it. And I have a couple links if you want. He did do a Google or a Gemini notebook this morning, a video, and it's only 8 minutes long. Or you can wait until I share it if you want. But Gemini did a really good job explaining the basics of it. So anyway, we're really excited. I've known Scott for 15 years, and I actually edited the first white paper that he did back then. And we stayed in contact all this time, but we never knew why, And it's so amazing to see. And in his life, all these connections happened at the right time and things. It's just amazing to get this confirmation of whatever you want to call it, connection, It's so it's a really, really wonderful day. And the big news is TQNN will also reduce drastically the amount of electricity consumption in every single AI. So it's going to help our global situation with the electricity. So I'm incredibly honored. I guess he put me as one of the credits for editing on the paper, and I'm just really honored.
Awesome. That's cool to hear. I do have to admit, I have to read up on that quite a bit. I do see this amplitude graph for generic quantum processes from computation scattering correspondence as a latest paper, I think. Not gonna pretend this is way outside of my scope of knowledge. There's the Science Direct link. A random paper. Fair. Okay, that's cool. Sounds like we'll hear more about that before too long.
And I have the actual research paper, the TQNN white paper. So if anyone wants it, let me know. I'll give you a copy.
Yeah, I think we need an exact link because Google gave me too many matches for the TQNN, and I don't know if they are the same things.
I should be able to upload it right here. Let me see.
Or maybe just the full name of it, that's enough. Like the abbreviation is already used by so many things. Or maybe things. Well, that was a massive downhaul, even though we had so little.
There you go. I found it. And I actually have the original one from 15 years ago as well. I still have it. It's amazing.
There's the PDF. Yep, cool.
But one little tidbit of information is when he asked me to do that on Twitter and he sent me the file, I started reading it and I said, what the fuck is it? Excuse my language. Is this English? I had no idea what I was reading at all. So I don't know why he's giving me any credit at all, but it was amazing. It's just been a trip.
Awesome. Yep. And I see the acknowledgement. That's awesome.
Oh, Banny's saying the archival version. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I have to dig it up and I'm going to send it to you, Banny.
Yeah, very cool. All right, the clock actually moved to 59 minutes past the hour. That kind of means we are relatively close to closing in, wrapping up, closing in. My English is breaking down for the day, so that's a sign as well. Final check on the room. Anything that somebody wants to add to today's town hall? Because you can. We're here. I'll give a quick reminder on upcoming sessions. Tomorrow we have R&D Guild. Then Thursday there's AI Sandbox Think Tank. There's onboarding. There's open governance. And there's African. And I think that's actually, I did want to touch on that. For the work group syncing call, I think I'm looking to put that at 17 UTC. And I did post this in decisions to be made, but I didn't put any. I made the mistake of not putting these react this emoticon thingy to get an actual input. Maybe I'll have to redo that. But I think I'm just gonna go for 17 UTC on this Thursday. It's relative short notice, seeing it's within 48 hours. But yeah, I do think it would be useful. Broadly speaking, I think we need to discuss how workgroups are dealing with the token price, because this is, I don't have to remind you, I guess you're quite aware, but we started the quarter at token price of 28 cents to work with. And I believe we're at a third, if not a fourth of that currently, which is impacting everybody quite a lot. So I think that will be the main discussion topic. Yeah, funny. You may have missed this, but it is not high. Let's put it like that. It might be low. Yeah. No, yeah.
It's in the freaking dirt. What do you mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, I do feel we have to discuss like it gets brought up so often. Like maybe we can do this once token price is high, and that every time I feel like, should we maybe then pause stuff until like should we still spend at this price? Yes, Stephen, MeTTa would have an opinion on that, I imagine.
Would there be a way to create another DAO? Or no, is that not possible?
Your dog gave the answer there, as it happens to do every now and then somehow. Well, first of all, another DAO would imply we already have a DAO, and while we sometimes act like it, we don't.
Oh, that's right. Okay, right.
I guess in theory we can start a DAO. It would just not automatically come with a ton of funding. So in that sense, I'm not sure what it would bring.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know much about it. In my opinion, I think like hang out a shingle and
I mean, let's not have that full discussion right here, right now. But I do feel it's good to sync with the work groups on the topic. And of course, if there's other topics that need to be synced on with all work groups, there's definitely opportunity for that. Just to making sure, I don't think there's direct very big objections to Thursday 17 UTC, so I'm just gonna put it there. Otherwise, it's gonna be even closer to that actual time. All right. Well, and then just to complete the list, and I'll let you go after that. On Friday, we've got marketing writers and video, and then on Saturday, there's Gamers Guild that runs it up. Cool. Thanks for being here and sharing your time and your updates and insights. It was a good one. Yeah, hope to see you on one of the upcoming calls. And if not, we'll talk on Discord, Mattermost, Telegram, anywhere. See you on the next one.